Good morning, children. Welcome to social science class again. And in today's class, you're going to learn second chapter from history, geographical features and prehistoric India. In this lesson, you're going to learn the physical features of India. India is a both subcontinent and peninsula. You will recognize the neighboring countries of India, and then the living style of man in prehistoric period, meaning of prehistory, and then stone age and different stages in stone age. India is a land of diversity in all manners. From culture, economy and even the landscape of India has diverse elements all on one landmass. The wide range of physical features of India makes the country a complete geographical study. In fact, India has every possible landscape that the earth has. From cold mountains to arid deserts, vast plains, hot and humid plateau, and wide seashores and tropical islands, it includes everything. India is located in Asia continent. It is also called subcontinent with the features of peninsula. What is a subcontinent? A large part of a continent that stands distinct from the rest of the continent is called subcontinent. India is called a subcontinent because of its vastness and it forms the main part of the subcontinent. India includes 28 states and 8 union territories. Delhi is a national capital. If you include Delhi, it becomes 9 union territories. India shares its boundaries with Pakistan, China, Afghanistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. India also shares water borders with Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Indonesia. In today's class, you are going to learn the physical features of India in detail. Let us know which are the 28 states and union territories. Andhra Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Odisha, Punjab, Rajasthan, Sikkim, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Tripura, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and West Bengal. These are 28 states of India. So we'll come to Union Territories. Andaman and Nicobar, Chandigarh, Daman and Diu, Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Delhi, Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, Lakshadweep, Puducherry. These are Union Territories, total 9. If you include Delhi, it becomes 9. If you exclude Delhi, then it is 8. So why we have to exclude means it has given as a national capital status. So I hope you understood that. Total 28 states and 9 union territories. Let us see all these states on the map. You can see all the states on the map, and we will also know where are our neighboring states and which are those. See, left side you can see that Afghanistan and Pakistan to the northwest, Nepal and Bhutan and then China are in the north side, Bangladesh and Myanmar to the east, and Sri Lanka to the southeast side. Myanmar, earlier it was called as Burma. So we have Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Sri Lanka as our neighboring countries. Union territories: Jammu and Kashmir, Chandigarh, Daman and Diu, then Dadra and Nagar Haveli, Lakshadweep, Puducherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Ladakh and Delhi. These are Union territories. Now let us study our geographical features in detail. First, let us know what is the importance of geographical features. The geographical environment has influenced every country and people in the world. There is an intimate relationship between human life and environment. Hence, it is necessary to learn about the geographical environment in order to know about human history. As we learnt earlier, India is a subcontinent, and also the south part is also called as peninsula. Why it is called peninsula means it has three side water and one side land. And water bodies are Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and then Indian Ocean. How our physical feature is divided means are divided means see that first part is Himalayan mountains. Himalayan mountains are also called as the northern Himalayan mountain ranges. Himalayan mountains are also called as the northern mountains. The northern mountain comprises of Himalayas, which are a group of young fold mountains. And the next one is Indo-Gangetic Plain, and Indo-Gangetic Plain is also called the Northern Great Plain. And then Deccan Plateau or the Peninsular Plateau, then coastal plains and islands, and then Indian deserts. If you divide everything once it becomes 6, otherwise it is 4. Himalayan mountain ranges, Indo-Gangetic Plain, Deccan Plateau, coastal plains and islands. Last we have Indian desert. So let us study all these physical features in detail one by one. Before I go to that, let me explain you. See, northern mountains you can see here, okay, and Gangetic plains also you can see very clearly on the map, and then Deccan Plateau, triangular shaped land, and then coastal areas, eastern and western coastal areas, and this coastal area extend up to 6,100 kilometers, and it starts from Rann of Kutch from Gujarat side here to up to the delta of Ganga. Up to that the coastal area extends. The coastal line is divided from Gujarat to Goa, it is called as Konkan coast. From Goa to Mangaluru, it is called as Karnataka coast. From Karnataka to Kerala side, it is called as Malabar coast. And right side, and again it will move up to, it is divided into two parts, Coromandel coast and then Utkal coast or northern Sarkar. Islands we have Lakshadweep and Andaman Nicobar. Andaman Nicobar is there in Bay of Bengal, and then in Arabian Sea we have Lakshadweep Islands. Desert land also you can see very clearly in the map. First let us come to the Himalayan mountains or northern mountains. Northern mountains or Himalayan mountains, they are the highest mountain ranges in the world, and they have highest peaks, deep valleys and gorges, glaciers, passes, etc. In India, they extend from the Indus Gorge in the west to Brahmaputra Gorge in the east for 2,400 kilometers. The Himalayas consist of three parallel ranges: Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas, and Shivalik Hills. The importance of Himalayas. The Himalayas act as natural frontiers and prevent foreign invasion. They prevent the cold winds from Central Asia. They obstruct the rain-bearing winds, and this causes heavy rainfall. Their slopes have dense forest and are ideal for plantation crops. They are storehouses of minerals and the birthplaces of many rivers and waterfalls which are used to generate hydroelectric power. The snow-capped mountains in the northwest include some of the tallest mountain peaks in the world. They help to preserve the safety and security of India. There have been few intrusions on ancient India from the northern Himalayas region. The attacks have been mainly from the northwestern side through the valleys of Bolan and Khyber passes. And next we'll move on to Northern River Plains. Northern River Plains or Indo-Gangetic Plains. It lies between the Himalayas and the Peninsular Plateau of India. It is formed by the depositional work of three river systems, namely the Sutlej, the Ganga, and the Brahmaputra. It is the largest alluvial soil tract in the world, extending east to west, a length of 2,500 kilometers. The plain is formed from the fertile alluvium deposited by the rivers flowing from Himalayan mountains. What are the importance of northern river plains means? The northern Great Plain is very much suitable for irrigation and agriculture as it has perennial rivers and vast fertile alluvial soil. And not only that, a number of pilgrim centers also located here. When you come to history, the flat Indo-Gangetic plains are very extremely fertile. That's why the ancient civilizations of Indus Valley and Vedic period flourished here. Many battles have been fought from time to time to establish control over this area. Usually, the dynasties that established control over this fertile Gangetic plain also established empires in this region. Now you have understood what is the importance of Northern River Plain. Next, we'll move on to the Deccan Plateau or the Peninsular Plateau. This is the largest physical division of India. It is the oldest landmass. It was being a part of Gondwan land. It is bounded by many hills and plateaus, namely Aravalli, Vindhyas, Satpur, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Chota Nagpur ranges, Deccan Plateau, Malwa Plateau, etc. Peninsula Plateau is rich with minerals, dense forest and biodiversity. The Western Ghats are the birthplace of many South Indian rivers. Even this part plays major role in the history of India. The Narmada River separates India into two parts, Malwa Plateau or Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau in the south. The Mauryans and the Guptas ruled these two areas of ancient India. And now we'll move to coastal line. The coastal line or the coastal plains of India. It extends from the run of Kutch in the west to the delta of Ganga in the east. It is segregated into eastern and western coastal area. Let us go in detail with that. The western coastal plain, it lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea and it extends from the Rann of Kutch to the Kanyakumari. It is narrow, steep and rocky and it is divided into three parts. as I told you earlier, the Konkan coast, which lies to the south of Gujarat plain, extends from Daman to Goa. The Karnataka coast, which extends from Goa to Mangaluru, and the Malabar coast, which extends from Mangaluru to Kanyakumari. And after that, when you come to the eastern side, it lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. It is it is broader than the western coast plain. The eastern coastal plain is divided into two parts: the northern Sirkar, which lies to the north of river Krishna, and southern part, which is called Coromandel coast. The Indian coastline is vast and it stretches nearly to 6,100 kilometers, as I said earlier. And the eastern coastline is called Coromandel coast, whereas the western coastline referred as Konkan coast and Malabar coast. You know the division also. And how it is helpful means the numerous ports on this coastline had attracted the Romans from ancient time. Foreign trade was carried on those days only through these sea routes. As a result, port towns flourished, resulting in the rise of powerful kingdoms in south like Pandyas, the Cheras, and Cholas. We'll come to the last part of it: desert and islands. We have only one desert, the Thar Desert, which is situated in northwestern part of India. The Thar Desert is also known as the Great India Desert. It is the world's 17th largest desert and the world's 9th largest subtropical desert. The next is islands. There are about 247 islands in India. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in Bay of Bengal. The Lakshadweep Islands are in Arabian Sea. The diversity in the Indian geographical environment has also influenced the lives of communities living here. So everything is created only because of the geographical conditions what is available. So you have understood the importance of physical features. You have also learned what are the distinct features of India and how it has influenced on the lifestyle of Indians and created different civilizations. This is the first part from this lesson. In the second part, you are going to learn prehistory and prehistorical period and how it is segregated, how the people used to live in that stage, everything. I hope you have understood. Let us recall what we have learned for the day. Himalayan mountains help to preserve the safety and security of India. Khyber and Bolan passes. You have learned the different physical features, and then you have understood that we have 28 states and 9 union territories with Delhi as a national capital. And then you have understood our physical features are divided into majorly four, that is Himalayan mountains, Indo-Gangetic plains, and then Deccan Plateau, and then coastal lines and islands. And you have also learned the importance of Himalayan mountains, Indo-Gangetic plains, coastal areas, and Deccan Plateau. Indo-Gangetic plains are very fertile. The ancient civilizations of Indus Valley and Vedic period flourished here. And then the Narmada river separates India into two parts, that is Malwa Plateau or Central Highlands and Deccan Plateau in the south. The Mauryas, Guptas ruled these two areas. And then coastal area importance. The numerous ports and coastline had attracted foreigners to trade with India. The Pandyas and the Cholas and Cheras ruled in this region. We are going to conclude the session here, and in the next class you are going to learn in detail about prehistoric period. And let me give us some homework for you. You have to draw a neat map of India and mark all the physical features what I have mentioned: coastal area, Himalayan mountains, and the Nengal Plateau, and then eastern and western Ghats, and then neighboring countries of India. Bay of Bengal you have to mark, and then Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean. Along with that, you also mention islands, Andaman Nicobar Islands, and then Lakshadweep Islands. You complete this work on a map, and I will just ask you whether you have. I will just see you map work what you have done in the WhatsApp group. Okay. So let's meet in the next class. Thank you.